Think about your earliest memory right now. Maybe it's a birthday. Maybe it's a kitchen, a smell, a hand holding yours. You trust it completely. You'd swear it happened exactly like that. But the real answer is far stranger than trust. That memory you're so sure of? There's a real chance it never happened at all, at least not the way you remember it. Your brain didn't record that moment like a camera. It built it, like a story. And every single time you remember it, you rebuild it again. Slightly different, slightly reshaped. You don't notice the difference because the rebuilt version feels exactly as real as the original. Isn't that strange? A memory that changes every time you touch it, but always feels untouched. Here's where it gets stranger. In the 1990s, a psychologist named Elizabeth Loftus ran an experiment that would change how scientists understood memory forever. She told adult participants 4 stories about their childhood. 3 were true, pulled from real family accounts. 1 was completely fabricated. The fake story described getting lost in a shopping mall as a small child, crying, and being rescued by an elderly stranger. None of it happened, but something happened in the participants' minds. Roughly a quarter of them didn't just believe the fake story, they elaborated on it. They added details. The color of the stranger's jacket. The fear they felt. The relief when they were found. They weren't lying. Their brains had quietly built a memory out of nothing but suggestion and then defended it as fact. Why would your brain do that? Why would it betray you like this? Because remembering was never the job your brain evolved to do. Predicting was. Your ancestors didn't need a perfect archive of the past. They needed a fast, flexible model of the world that could warn them what was likely to happen next. A memory that updates itself based on new information isn't a flaw. It's a feature. It's your brain constantly asking, given everything I now know, what probably happened? And then filling in the gaps with its best guess. This is called reconstructive memory, and neuroscientists have watched it happen in real time. Karim Nada, a researcher at McGill University, ran a now-famous study on rats in the early 2000s. He trained rats to fear a certain sound by pairing it with a mild shock. Weeks later, he reactivated that fear memory and then gave the rats a drug that blocked protein synthesis in the brain. The fear vanished. Completely. The memory wasn't damaged. It was rewritten in the act of being recalled. Here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. The same appears to be true for human memory. Every time you pull up a memory, it becomes temporarily unstable, like wet clay. For a brief window, it can be reshaped by your current mood, your current beliefs, even a conversation you just had. Then it hardens again, restored, but not identical to before. Scientists call this reconsolidation. You might call it something simpler. Your past isn't fixed, it's being edited, quietly, every time you visit it. So why does this matter to you, specifically today? Because you are walking around right now with a version of yourself built entirely out of memories you assume are solid ground. Your sense of who you are, what you've overcome, who hurt you, who loved you, all of it rests on a foundation that rewrites itself slightly every time you stand on it. That argument with your parent, the reason your friendship ended, the way you remember failing or succeeding. Some percentage of every one of those stories has been quietly reshaped by everything you've learned, felt, and believed since. This isn't a malfunction, it's why you can grow at all. Imagine if your memories truly never changed. Every old wound would stay exactly as sharp as the day it happened. Every grudge would stay perfectly fresh. You'd never be able to reframe a painful childhood event with adult understanding because the memory would be locked, untouched by everything you've since learned about people, about forgiveness, about context. The same mechanism that makes your memory unreliable is the mechanism that lets you heal. There's a researcher who spent decades studying exactly this tension, the psychologist Daniel Schacter at Harvard. He proposed that memory isn't a single system at all, but a set of overlapping processes, each one prone to its own particular kind of error, distortion, suggestibility, bias. He called these the 7 sins of memory, and his argument was radical for its time. These sins, he said, aren't bugs in an otherwise perfect system. They're the necessary cost of having a memory flexible enough to be useful at all. A perfect memory, paradoxically, would make you worse at navigating the world, not better. Think about what that means for the version of you sitting here right now. The confidence you feel in your own memories has almost nothing to do with how accurate they are. Studies on eyewitness testing